We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Last one. Sweet. For chopping that wood, you deserve the sweet reward of a Diet Dr. Pepper.
That is sweet.
Well, sweet's got a split. Diet Dr. Pepper. It's the sweet one.
Company and this fading yellow line, as far as I can see, it's 100 miles till you're right there with me. Oh, River Road, keep leading me home. Oh, River Road, don't got much time. Oh, River Road, smooth and gravel and stone. I got 100 miles till I can make her mine. I got 100 miles till I can make her mine.
Hey! Hey! Good evening. The 20th of May. I'm Justin Guarini, and you are watching So What Happens Now Live, the show I created to help share your stories, give you a place to be heard, and to show that you're not alone in this moment-by-moment challenge of making it through the new COVID-19 reality we're all living in. Hey, do me a favor, drop a comment below and let everyone know where in the world you're watching from. I love to see it. We've had people from South Africa and in the Far East and all kinds of people all over America and Canada, and it's always fun to see where you're watching from. Tonight's guest and my co-host for the evening is a film, television, and Broadway veteran who, before the shutdown, was enjoying a run as Harry Potter in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child on Broadway. Is it Cursed? I think it's Cursed Child on Broadway. He's a full-time dad and even better part-time lover and a good friend of mine. Let's take a brief glimpse at some of James Snyder's greatest hits.
That kills me, it makes me feel alive. Lately I've been out into sleep, dreaming about the things that we achieved. Yeah, lately I've been out in way hard. Said no more counting down the we counting stars.
Hey, welcome to the show, James. How you doing, man?
Woo! I am doing so well. I was like, oh, let's look back at every single thing I've ever done, including my very first TV gig ever. You know
Yeah,
which one you couldn't
my
find?
producer Chuck is real amazing, and he was like, I wonder if he's going to recognize some of these or what he's going to say.
Oh my
Yeah. So,
god!
what did you see in that intro that you haven't probably seen in years?
The thing I've like, I saw it once. One of the very first pilot I ever did called Anna's Dream. I was like on the locker leaning over somebody. I was wondering. The thing I did before that was this thing called MTV's Undressed. Do you remember that show?
I know there's a show called Dance Off with Your Pants Off, but MTV's Undressed, I missed
Okay,
it.
so it was a scripted soap opera with three different. So you had post-college, college, and high school stories. And the way they only paid day rate, AFTRA, $330 a day.
Which, I mean, back then, I mean, not terrible.
And there were no recurring roles. So the most episodes you could ever have were an 8-episode arc while they weaved the three storylines together, just sort of like so if you wanted to finish one, and then maybe they'd hook you with the other one. So I played a plumber, and I had like 5 lines, and I come out with my shirt off, and I'm like, Lois, because the whole shtick was like, the only way you can test water pressure is if, two people are
of course, the classic.
And my line is, Lois, I'm running out of hot water.
And that was it? That's amazing. No, I remember those MTV shows. I remember shows like that. And I can't believe that they got away with what they got away with. But I mean, there were so many people. I mean, it hasn't changed really, but so many people who were just like, yeah, I'll take whatever just to get it. And MTV was like the thing to be on. MTV was like,
because it was, if you were like Adrian Brody was on, if you were in LA I took it off of my resume because it aged me, because you knew the exact year and a half that you were between 18 and 20 in Los Angeles, where you're like, if you were between those ages, you were like guaranteed. My biggest thing was I almost booked a gay role on it. And I was like, is my first thing on TV going to be me?
Which, I mean, but even back then, that was kind of like, this is something like now, like whatever. But back then, that was kind of a thing.
Go ahead.
Anyway. Go ahead. Please go ahead.
I remember going to like my main teacher who was like, she was a lesbian, so she's like, "What's the problem? I don't understand." Like, maybe you're the wrong person to ask. Right. Anyway, thanks for having me on, Justin. You're the best.
On that note, hey, for those of you who don't know or just tuned in, my guest is James Snyder. You're watching So What Happens Now live. James and I starred together in Broadway's first a cappella musical, In Transit. Which is beautiful and painful and a beautiful thing. We'll get into that a little bit later, but it seems like you've been doing really well. I've seen a lot of, I spoke about Harry Potter and what you were doing in Harry Potter. I've seen a lot of Harry Potter and singing on your socials. That was actually a picture right there from our opening night of In Transit. Yes, the beautiful, beautiful show In Transit. We'll talk about that in a second, but I want to talk about Harry Potter first, and what you've been doing on social media with Harry. Yes, there you are. Those the glasses?
These are well, I have about 40 pair on stage.
Yeah, of course.
You cannot enter without these on. Eventually they start to wear out, so I'll get a couple weeks in, and like the lenses will pop out or something, and so
they have lenses.
Yeah, normally, yeah. So this is a pair that I popped them out, but yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Like, I was like,
interesting, because I know the movie doesn't have. In the movie, they didn't use lenses, obviously, because of like light flares and all that stuff. But it's interesting that they would do it on the stage. Now, something that I have noticed, especially with the Harry Potter, which I loved, I think I saw it today, as a matter of fact. You're TikToking like crazy. TikTok like wasn't a thing. TikTok wasn't a thing back when we were dressing roommates, but now you're like way into it. Well, I want to know, what has TikTok taught you about yourself?
Just said
this is a deep. We haven't even gotten to the deep questions yet.
I'm older than this, and I look at this machine, and I'm like, but you can learn anything. You can learn to do anything on YouTube.
Yeah,
you can learn to do anything on YouTube. So as frustrated as I am, like with sometimes editing and this and that, I'm like, well, how do I do? Like, I just did one where it's like wipe, and I turn into Darth Vader, then I turn into Harry Potter. And
that's what I saw today. That's what I saw. It's great. It's great, but it's so wonderful because it just, I mean, especially now of all times, it just allows creative people to just be.
That's what I mean. The kid Are we gonna watch this?
Oh, I don't know if are you gonna watch it? Yeah, I think we
This
might
is
watch
not the one. Do we have another one?
it. He's like, this is not a good one. So it's like you're talking
Yeah,
to yourself a little bit.
Yeah,
There's
I mean,
one name, but yeah, you
the
can do
kid
whatever you
playing-
want.
Yeah, the kid playing my son, he's like written and scripted everything and stars in all of his own stuff, in which most of it is like him playing different characters, but the same character, and it's all super meta. And he's got like in the last 3 months, he's gotten 164,000 followers or something crazy like that, where you just like,
It's amazing how many followers you can get if you just do something that's mildly interesting. And you know what I love about TikTok is that it's not an age thing. Like it's like Snapchat, you know, you're too old if you're probably 18, right? You know,
Yeah.
Instagram has its thing, Facebook has its demographic, but TikTok seems to be like you can be any age, and as long as you're willing to participate and play, there's actually like a lot of respect for you.
and that's it. It's just another way to be creative, and I think it fits much more my mindset. Or you can make it what you want it. Like, I mean, Nick Padani, who played my son, he uses Final Cut Pro and scores it underneath. Like he makes mini movies
Because he's got that kind of time.
Oh God, I know. I'm like, oh, you don't.
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's like, do I have the 8 hours to devote today for 30 minutes?
I spent the other night. I spent 2.5 hours doing 4 TikToks that I'll release another one like in a little bit. But I was just like, I don't know if I have the time to do this. I'm tired. And I'm old. That being said, my wife looked at me and was like,
kids.
And I was like, yeah, but I'm having so much fun. And that's the thing, is it's just another place to get creative. And
yeah, exactly. I feel like Janet feels here. I do not have TikTok. No more social apps, please.
It is
a friend of mine is like, you gotta do TikTok. You gotta do TikTok.
No, you just keep going down. See, but this is the thing. You want to be an early adopter. You know, it's like Instagram. I remember you're like, what's Instagram? And then all of a sudden I'm like, I need a blue check. When am I going to get my blue check? How do I get a blue check? And if I got on it 6 months earlier, then it wouldn't have been it. You know?
Absolutely. All right, James. Well, hey, man, I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so happy that you're co-hosting with me. Let's take a quick minute to talk about a place. If you'll just join me and sit back for a second, I want to talk about a place called the Community of Hope. If you'd like to become a viewer, you, the viewer, would like to become a part of a beautiful community of individuals who value things like family, peace, fun, positivity, connection, a place where politics of any kind are banned, and a place where people are interested in working together to overcome the isolation or uncertainty and the stress that the COVID-19 crisis threatens to overwhelm us with like a day. All you need to do is text the word HOPE right there down to that number, 310-510-6034. If you're in the US or Canada, 310-510, there you go, James, 310-510-6034, 310-510-6034. It's scrolling right down there because I will respond. That's actually my number. I do receive your text right on my cell phone, and I respond. So text the word HOPE to me there, and I'll send you a message back as well as the link to the Facebook community, which is right over here. Now, look, if you're outside the US or Canada and you're watching, no worries. Throughout the show, we'll drop links in the comments where you can find out more about our awesome community. And also in the show description, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, and I think maybe even on Twitch as well. We're broadcasting to all those places. That the link should be in the show description. All right, enough about the Community of Hope. My friends, it's going to be an awesome show tonight, and I'm so glad that you chose to spend your time here with James and I tonight. Okay, so there is something, James, that I need explanation about. And
okay, what do you need? How can I'm here for you?
It's something I want to make sure that my producer is ready to go, because I need just a little bit of explanation. My producer tripped over this photo, and I just need some clarification from you. Explain yourself, sir.
Oh! That's Jen. Have you ever worked with Jen Colella?
I never worked with her, but I see her all the time. And it's really funny. On her Twitter or Instagram, I don't know which it is, in the little description, it says excellent hugger. She's a phenomenal hugger and a wonderful human being on top of that.
So this isn't during If Then. I had a vlog for Broadway.com called Hey Kid. And Jen Colella is one of those people where it's like, she's so game to do anything that I'd be like, hell yeah. And we just act like such goofballs. And I was like, what else do we do? And she's like, we should shave your chest. I was like,
She would. She would.
Okay, great. And here we go. So this was on Broadway.com. And look at her face, like the joy it brought her.
Yeah. I mean, but that's not like me. I have like 6 or 7 sprigs of chest hair.
Oh, no,
you're full on.
My Scotch Irish, yeah, right there, man. And this is in the Richard Rodgers Theater during If Then. So like this was Leslie Odom's dressing room. If you play Aaron Burr, you're in this dressing room. Like that's your bathroom.
It's on stage right downstairs there.
The cleaning lady came in the next day and was like, oh no, wardrobe supervisor, Linda Lowe. And she was like, I almost had to explain it, but then luckily I had this to show them. And because I cleaned up after myself. But
there's only so much you can clean up of.
There were a few
hairs, right?
Hairs, and she thought it was from a different part than the chest.
I know. That's what I know. I can't went there.
Never.
Man, so funny.
Oh my God, you have no idea. So if you want, you can go on YouTube or Broadway.com and watch Jen Colella shave my chest.
Well, that's amazing. So I'll make sure to drop a link for that.
I don't know if it's good for the brand. I like the older I get, the more I'm like, you know what? I'm a goof. I'm an enthusiastic person. I live with zeal, and so I make choices that may be a little more outside the box, we'll say, and. I think the older I get, the more I'm okay with it, as opposed to be like, why aren't I cool?
Who has time for cool? Who has time for cool? I don't have time for cool. Anyway, let's say a quick hello to some of our viewers who are watching before we move on. James, I'll let you do the honors to say hello as my producer, Chuck, pops up some people there. Some of the names of the viewers up on the screen.
Hi, Lisa. How you doing? So you're part of the Hope group?
Yes, Hope community. Yeah, for sure.
The Hope community. I'm excited. I sent that. Kathy's in too. I love it.
That's right. Yes.
Janet, yes, I saw you comment earlier too, Janet. That's awesome. I sympathize with you. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Justin, hey, Denise says hi. You can say hi back to Denise.
Hi, Denise. How you doing? Nice to see you.
She's got a lightsaber, so I'm in.
Yeah, I'm always on with that. And Lindsay, of course, there. All right. So thank you very much, everybody. As always, welcome to our Hope community viewers joining us for the first time, people joining us for the first time, and our longtime supporters. You could have been literally anywhere on the interwebs tonight. And I'm so glad that you chose to be here with all of us. James, dear James, one of the reasons why I started this show was because I wanted to find out more about the day in, day out triumphs and trials of people's lives during the current COVID-19 pandemic. James, do you remember a little game called Oregon Trail?
Yeah.
Right? I think we would have played that in like junior high or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. And then farther, I had it on like 3 of my computers. There was a that had a really good hunting thing where it was first person and you could do it, and that was like, it was a version that that had first instead of like you walking around shooting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it was all like it was very
first person one, and your buckshot would go and hit.
Yes, that's amazing. Well, the reason why I bring that up is because during the Oregon Trail. There was a couple of things. I mean, there's obviously like the caulk the wagon and float at the end, right? And all that business. And there was going out and hunting. But there was also this thing where I would go into the journal and I would actually write in school. I would write in the journal and type in the journal. I would just all the things that a probably 11-year-old or 12-year-old would write. Like just dysentery and dying. But the reason why I bring that up is because during that actual real time in history, there was no cell phone, TV, radio, all that stuff. All there was in terms of communication was people sitting around a campfire and telling each other stories, which is kind of the way I started this whole thing. I just wanted to get people's stories and hear what they were up to and bring them on and talk to them. So in the spirit of the ancient art of storytelling and to help promote community here in this place, tonight I'd like to continue on that tradition and have you, James, read one of the stories and me read one of the stories of the week. So Chuck, hit that transition and let's go. You may have recognized that music, James.
Yeah, I did. It was gorgeous. You want me to take it from Lindsay?
Go for it.
All right. Ohio is open. OH. After 2 months straight in the house, I got to leave the house twice last week. It felt so good to be out around people. I own a dance studio here in town, and we are hoping to open in the next couple weeks. I feel so much better and pray things stay positive here in the Buckeye State. Prayers for everyone still staying at home. It will be over soon. Lindsay D.
Whew, yeah, I mean, I'm as excited as anybody else to open it. Thank you very much for things to open up. Thank you, Lindsay, for your story. I do want to ask you, James. Do you think? And I'll weigh into, and I'd love to see if what other people think. Do you think that now's the time to open things up?
No.
Yeah.
Why? Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
In New Jersey, no. It's a very different experience for the entire country. That's the hardest part is, my family in California, my grandma's by herself.
Mm-hmm.
My step grandpa just passed away like 2 months ago, and she's by herself. But in her county, there's only like one case. And the place that she gets to connect, the only place she knows how, because she doesn't use a computer, she can't hear very well on the phone, is the store. I mean, that's where you go. That's the thing. And so it's different because you look at the toll it takes on, let's say, the soul of a human being to be in a house. But where we're at, I mean, I'm in New Jersey. We're in the epicenter of it. And so it's not time. I mean, I had to mail some things today. So I went to the UPS store with my mask and my gloves. And I got a coffee today for the first time from the local small business. I got an oat milk latte from the great coffee shop in little downtown South Orange. Yeah. And I was like, do we do this? Do I do this? I don't know if I can do this. We've ordered out twice now. We get groceries delivered. Thank God we can get groceries delivered. So I think it's different for everybody, but it's so unfair knowing the people that are on the front lines that are exhausted and still fighting just to keep the health and their heads above water and the health of every human being around here, out of respect to them. It's for me, it's the best thing. The next best thing to do, I think, is to just stay the course.
Yeah, it seems that's a really good point to make, state by state basis or case by case basis, right? Because my initial thought is like, no, and it's based on what I've heard and the things, and I mean, I would rather be cautious and be proven wrong, when it comes to the fourth quarter, for example, because all of the science and again, we're not going to get into politics and whatever sort of media you consume, but everything that I consume is just like, hey, there are certain things that you can do. Like I will go out and if I'm like, I cannot cook tonight, I'll go to a fast food place and I'll drive through, you know what I mean? And I'll support local businesses and I'll do that. And I've gotten food from places. We got food from our local sushi joint tonight, but it's very controlled. I walk in again, like with the mask and gloves, and it's all very controlled, 6 feet apart. Even they have this whole bucket of pens that is sanitized pens and used pens. And so, I mean, I think with the proper what would you call it, protections, yes, there's a way you can open up that's safe. But even for us in my county here in Pennsylvania, it's like we have one of the more, I don't want to say hardest hit counties because it's more towards Philadelphia, but because we have a lot of senior living establishments, I guess would be the polite way of putting it. And the hospital where the county see here, there's going to be more of an influx and there's going to be higher cases here. But, my kids are rearing to go to the community pool. And while the science shows that you can't get it from chlorinated pools, Chuck, my producer, was saying that they're opening Disney up in just the water parks, right? And so it's like, okay, you can't get it from the pool, but people, and all that around one another. And so it's dicey, but I would rather, like you said, stay the course and open up maybe just enough to be able to help local businesses and to help the bare minimum of the economy and local economy, but not have this come back to bite us in the butt. Because I feel like in September, when Broadway is supposed to reopen, which I think is optimistic. I think it's
unrealistic. It's unrealistic. Yeah,
it really is. And even if it did, if it was like boom, are people going to be feel safe enough to pile into a theater? And are they going to have the money to pay for the tickets?
Yeah.
And the actors and all that stuff. Anyway, okay, well, we could talk that into death. My fellow Bucks Countyan says Bucks County isn't ready yet, and I think that you're absolutely right. Okay, so let's move on here as I find it. Lucy! My producer loves to break that out when we're moving on. Okay, this story 2 is from Brittany. I'm getting a guitar. Tomorrow I ordered it from, I'm getting a guitar tomorrow, Justin. I ordered it from Amazon and I can't wait to play it. I just need to look up free guitar lessons. I figured I'd learn or do something useful during this quarantine. Any suggestions on what I could do with guitar? Brittany. Oh, Brittany. Do you know, and James, you might not know this, there is a website that is not affiliated with yours truly that is justinguitar.com. I think that's what it is. It's either justinguitar.com or
right.
Guitar TV. Yes, look it up. Look it up. justinguitar.com, and it's free guitar lessons for anyone of various skill levels. I'm not sure if it's .tv or .guitar. Or .com, sorry. But yeah.
.com. JustinGuitar.com is what it looks like.
Yeah, it's great. And it's got, at least when I saw it, he might have changed his tune now that the money's not flowing. But when I saw it, it's all free guitar lessons. Fantastic. Hey, there we go. Is that JustinGuitar.com? My producer Chuck is on it. So yeah, that's JustinGuitar.com. If you are thinking about learning guitar like Brittany and you have a guitar, that is a great place to go and check out pictures of arenas, apparently, and to look at lessons and things like that. And I'm pretty sure they're free. There's like a massive amount of stuff this guy has put together, and I don't know how he's making his money. Maybe off of private lessons, but hey, let's support him because he's got a phenomenal name, if nothing else. And so, speaking of guitars, James, would you want to maybe break out your guitar and do a little singing?
Brittany, I will tell you this much. You have to be ready to be terrible for a very, very long time.
It's true.
When you're learning things like bar chords, you're like, and your hands will hurt. So about 6 months in of being terrible, you will still be terrible. And then you'll learn bar chords and you'll be like, oh, it doesn't work. I don't understand. And then you're going to suck for, I was just trying to look up the quote from Dave Grohl. But it was something like, it was like, he said something about like sucking, and then you keep playing and you just keep sucking and then you just keep playing and then eventually you don't suck. It's one of my favorite Pixar terms. They unsuck a script.
That's amazing.
This is a John Lasseter thing, I think, where they would be like, great, that is a brilliant idea. We love the core of your script. Now unsuck it.
That's great.
Not suck anymore. So it took me a very long time to play guitar, but do we like this song?
Oh, I love it. The floor is yours, my friend.
If I could reach the stars, I'd pour one down to you, babe. I'd shine it on my heart so you could see the truth that this love I have inside is everything it seems, babe. But for now I'm fine. It's only in my dreams. If I could change the world, I would be the sunlight in your universe. You would think my love was really something good, baby, if I could change the world. If I could be a king, if take you as my queen. I'm heading no other way, and our love will rule in this kingdom we've made. Till then I'll be a fool. I'm heading no other way. If I could change the world, I will be the sunlight in your universe. You would think my love was really something good, baby, if I could change, baby, if I could change, baby, if I could change the world.
Yes, sir. I
I
love
auditioned
it,
for
man.
American Idol.
I absolutely love it. Oh, look, Harry Potter's in the house.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Yes.
I got
Do you have your lightning bolt scar? We need to get you a lightning bolt scar.
Yeah, we need a little lightning bolt scarf. That'll be Harry. Okay, I was like, you can be in here if you're just nice and quiet and you don't come on the camera. And now all of a sudden, look, I made the foolish mistake. Hey, that's not good. Okay, head downstairs, my love. I will see you in a little bit.
Like a spark.
I'll make
on
a.
my
Oh, make
forehead.
you wanted me to make a lightning with a not with this pen, dear. I have to do it with a makeup pen, not an actual real pen. But I'm gonna do it. Okay, head downstairs. I'm talking to Mr. James. I will see you in a little bit. Make sure you close that door, honey. This is it. This is live at home with the kids. It's so funny. Hey, that was a great song. So many people think this is absolutely wonderful. Look at all those wonderful comments. Oh my goodness, wonderful, wonderful. Some people noticed Asher. At least
I know. He's so big. I can't get over it.
Can you believe that? I mean, it's.
Crazy.
Are we getting near 3 years? Are we getting near 3 years since In Transit?
I think so. Oh, yeah.
We're coming up to 3 years. Close that door, my love. Please close that door.
Yeah.
And so anyway, like I was, oh, there it is, In Transit. Yeah, that's what we were doing almost like 3 years ago. And I'm so excited because Friday, I think this Friday, we're having a Zoom get together with everybody.
Yeah.
Did you gotta check your text messages because
I did. I saw that. I didn't put it in the calendar. If I don't put it in the calendar,
no worries. Hey, so getting back to the stories and everything, thank you very much, James, for that beautiful song. Everybody absolutely loved it. If you would like to share your story with our community and maybe even have it read live on our show, all you need to do is text the word HOPE to me at 310-510-6034. Right there, 310-510-6034. That is a place that you text messages come directly to my cell phone and I respond. You can become a part of our Facebook group, all kinds of great stuff. Okay, now it is time to get to one of my favorite parts of the show, the old Q&A, brought to us by the game We're Not Really Strangers. And we're not really sponsored by them. We just love them. And I love asking my guests and questions and asking the viewers to play along. So if you want to find out more about We're Not Really Strangers, go to We're Not Really Strangers at We're Not Really Strangers on Instagram and www.we'renotreallystrangers.com. Okay. I do a lot of promo for them considering that they don't sponsor us. So, but who knows? Who knows? Who knows? We're just gonna keep putting it out there. Okay.
Look, why buy the cow when you get the milk for free?
Yeah. Oh no, it's great. Yeah, it's fine. It's all good. So James, I have a couple of questions for you and for the audience as well. Oh, but I have to just put up one comment right here. Thank you, Joel Cooper. Thank you, Joel. Thank you so very much, Kim.
Oh, it's Kim. Kim's great.
Look, the reason why I put those comments up there is because that show In Transit was a labor of love.
It really was. Yeah.
Someday we'll talk about it, but in the meantime, let's talk about a quick question I have for you from We're Not Really Strangers. It's level 2, or can you see that? Yeah, level 2 connection.
Okay.
So, what title? And I'll answer it as well. What title would you give this chapter in your life? And feel free to answer as well, viewers. What title would you give this chapter in your life?
Probably Here I Am.
Here I am.
Here I
Yeah.
am.
it's like- yeah. Why would
Yeah.
you that? Why?
I think I'm getting to the point where I'm not going this way. I'm not looking out. I'm almost 40. I'm like, I think I've got what I've got right now. And that's not to say that I can't learn and I can't grow and I can't, you know, be better. But like I now enter rooms instead of like, it's I'm here. I do what I do. I love what I do. I am who I am. And so it's like, here I am. This is me. Sometimes, and it's great to be, I'm just getting okay with all of the things that I sort of wasn't okay with. Oh my God. Look at these answers. Go to some of these answers.
Oh, wait, let's see. Family is everything. Great. Let's see the shit show. Chuck's pulling them up. I won't pull them up. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Yeah. The Enlightenment is good. Slow and steady wins the race from Ilana or Elena. Let's see who else here. Moving forward. That's wonderful. I love that one. Here's one that is, I'm sure a lot of people are feeling alone and confused. Yeah, for sure. Even people who are together with other people are feeling confused and maybe even feeling alone and confused as well. I definitely am more on the side of what you are feeling, James, in terms of like, so what would I say mine is? It's like, almost mine, I think, is the first thing that popped into my head is where can I go? And what I mean by that is like, I feel like I'm in the process of, I've talked about this before on the show and in other sort of things that I've done online where it's like, we're in this massive contraction, or over the past 7 or 8 weeks now, we've gone from this world, which was endless possibilities and we could go and do and anything that we wanted to this massive contraction. And now we're stuck inside our homes, or we have limited mobility and limited travel, and we don't see our families. But I after the first 2 or 2.5, 3 weeks of being in a fog, I just asked myself, well, all right, how can I expand and how can I grow inside of this? And believe me, it's exhausting. Like, I'm not even gonna lie and say like, yeah, I got it. Like it's fucking exhausting. But I just keep asking, like, okay, how can I expand? How can I get bigger? Okay, great. Broadway and theater and even the commercial stuff that I do, that's like done for the foreseeable future. 6 months, maybe a year, I don't know. So how can I then pivot and do something that I really love and get even closer with my family? And so that's why, and I know you're doing the same thing. I want to talk about it before we move on. That's why I've just totally just gone headfirst into coaching and into putting up all kinds of things where I can share my wisdom and the things that I've experienced with maybe a new generation or people who don't know what I know and have the experience that I have. I know you're putting on group coaching soon, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, and this is where it's like, oh, I'm me, because it's really a weird thing to be. I'm Harry Potter on Broadway. I'm literally playing the lead in the biggest show, the highest grossing play ever, the longest running play ever, the most awarded play ever. I'm playing the lead up. I'm carrying, and there's still these moments of I'm not worthy, and I'm finally getting to the point where it's like, here I am. This is where I fit in contributing. And so for me, how does that manifest? Well, I do love coaching and I love group coaching. And so I've started to develop what I do as an actor in musical theater and in theater itself, just in acting. And so I was like, well, I think it might be time to start. So I'm just wrapping my head around right now. I'm looking for 10 students to commit to 8 weeks of just like, let's commit, let's look at this. Let me take you through the steps and give you the things, but not all I'm cramming it into the 3 little sessions private lessons that we have. It's like, let's take the time and dig in. So that's where I'm formulating, and this is a little early maybe to be even talking about it, but I've got a few people.
I think, you know what, there's something to be said for accountability. I think there's something to be said for accountability. I think there's something to be said for putting it out there, because one of the most amazing things, and maybe I shouldn't be saying this publicly, but one of the most amazing sort of marketing to marketing. Speaking of Harry Potter, where my son took the glasses that I usually use. But one of the most wonderful marketing pieces of advice I got was when it comes to building a course like this. If you think like, okay, 8 weeks is 8 modules or whatever you would call them, lessons or something like that. Have them framed out, but don't build out the whole course and then ask people to go through the 8 weeks. Build out the first week or two and really have a solid idea of where you want to go in those first 2 weeks. And then once you get those 10 students or however many students in, then ask them, okay, so, week 1 is like, and this is just off the top of my head, like week 1 is all about, using your voice. And week 2 is all about using your body. Week 3 is all about whatever, if it's storytelling or vocal performance or however you want to break it down. And so plot those 8 weeks out. And then your first week is like, okay, we're going to focus all about storytelling and breaking down the script. And then you ask them, hey, what is one of the biggest questions you have about, dance, if that's your next module, right? And you know what you're going to do in that next module, but you take what you meet them where they are. And then you're like, okay, I have my stuff planned, but I'm inspired and I'm going to give you exactly what you need for the second one. And then you're like, I know that my third one is going to be, how to play monologues, right? And then during that second week, you ask, what's the biggest question you have about monologues? And maybe you haven't even really thought about monologues at all, except for like, okay, here's a couple of points, but you allow the people who are participating with you to actually give you the curriculum that they want. And that way you're not putting out this huge course for 6 months and saying, okay, I got it, but it ends up not being what people want. So anyway, that was my big marketing nerd.
I appreciate it. That's such a great advice and everything. For me, it's like, okay, and we're also just trying to look for the ways to exist in this universe and to contribute. For me, that's why I'm an actor. I was drawn to it because of the healing aspect.
Yeah,
the part of me that feels broken, all the time. That's like there's this hole there, and I'm called to do that because I think those moments of purity on stage when I'm just being so fully human, that fills up. And I can show people how to heal, how to learn. That's what Harry Potter is all about, is learning to be a parent and meet your son, love him for who he is, and love yourself for love Harry Potter loving himself for who he is.
Yeah, especially after all that he's been through.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
exactly.
It's like, do they have wizard therapists? Because
that's the amazing part is like these kids that have all gone through a literal wizarding war. And that's in rehearsals, that's what we talked about. And I think that's where I connect to Harry Potter, and is like that, like the broken, like just the PTSD that they went through, and then the not knowing how to deal with a child. He was an orphan, So
and how it would not, not having a father of any repute. I mean, the Dursleys weren't exactly like parents, right? So,
no, I mean, he had Sirius Black for that much. Albus Dumbledore was aloof most of it, like gave him spoken fortune bits. So, it's So,
and it's just so interesting because I mean, when it comes to being a father myself, it's just like, I'm lucky that I have a father and a stepfather who, like any other father, are flawed. But I never lost anyone from a young age. But I mean, and we're getting deep into Potter talk here. But like, think about all of the father figures that he's had in his life. Spoiler alert: he's lost, right? And now he has to be a father. And I mean, can you imagine what kind of pressure that must be? Anyway. Let's move on to the next question before we give away all the juicy tidbits about Harry Potter. What is your mother's name and the most beautiful thing about her?
Susan Jean Hart Snyder. There's this sound. It's weird. She has the same laugh as her grandmother. Weird, her laugh. And then she used to read us stories and stuff. And so maybe I'll go back to her voice, I guess. There's a certain, and her heart, I really do think like that's where I am. I'm a great mix of, my dad is a salesman and a showman and owns a room and this and that. And my mom, she, she remembers the lyrics to every single song. She, you know, like she remembers things, and she has sort of like that emotional memory. And great perspective. So
yeah, now that you say that, and knowing you, how I got to know you when we were dressing roommates, like, yeah, I totally get that. And that's a really beautiful blend. And I mean, I absolutely adore you as a human being. And so I think that that's really cool. And that's so nice. That's why I love this game, because when you say that, it's there's the sign for in transit as we were roommates. And yeah, that's why I love this game, because you get to learn very interesting things about people in ways that you would not necessarily learn them. Your mother's an actual author, isn't she?
yeah, actually, she's written. Well, she wrote a series of books that are available on Amazon called the Sidney Roberts series. Susan Hart Snyder is her name, and then she just wrote a family history. Actually, or she wrote it a while ago, and it's taking me way too long to read it. She went through and she dug into like our family, but picked out the characters and why she picked them. So she has like a chapter on villains. She has a chapter on royalty. She has a chapter, and she did as much research and then sort of extrapolated from there what the world might have been like, or what this moment in time in their life was like, and then contextualized, well, I have a bunch of family that was in Long Island in the 1600s, you know, or late 1600s, you know, or yeah, and it's somebody who was like a complete goofball that like got kicked out of town 3 times, or you know. Like,
in your bloodline, never. I can't imagine it.
Yeah, but it's interesting to find out. Like, I have family from the New York area, like Sleepy Hollow-ish, like the
Oh wow, yeah,
yeah, all over the place.
amazing.
Yeah.
My mom's name is Kathleen Ann Pepino, and probably one of my most favorite things about her, beautiful thing about her, is like her perseverance, her constant and never-ending perseverance. When she was she went to school for journalism at Temple in Pennsylvania, and she then moved down to Atlanta all by herself, and ended up meeting my dad and becoming a reporter, and then working for a local ABC station. And then she was hired for this new 24-hour news network, Central News Network, that no one had ever heard of, right? CNN. They're like,
yeah, who's never heard of that?
Yeah, so she was one of the first anchor women on that. And like, when she had me, she literally had me, and then less than 2 weeks later, she was back to work, because she knew that at that time in the late 70s that they would have replaced a woman like that if they had the chance. So she had a driver, you know, with the studio, there's a driver who would drive her to the studio, and she'd read the news 2 weeks, and she'd bring me and everything. So she is a champion as far as I'm concerned. Lisa says, my mom's name is Rhonda. She's everything I am not, and strive every day not to be. Interesting. My mom's name is Marion Jean Loker. Best thing I can say is that she didn't give up, even though so many things were stacked against her from an early age, and it continued. That's really beautiful. That's really beautiful. Oh, Cynthia says, In Transit was a fabulous show. Such a special time meeting you both after the show. Thanks, Cynthia. Amazing. That's awesome. Okay, let's move. Okay, here's a fun one, because there are certainly questions I could ask you about yourself, and I would answer them too. But there are certain ones that I would ask you about me or us in this situation, which is very interesting. I got a couple more. We're about 50 minutes into the show. I got a couple more questions before we wrap up here. If you're just joining us late, you're watching So What Happens Now Live. I'm Justin Guarini. My guest is James Snyder, Broadway darling James Snyder, who before the shutdown was starring as Harry Potter in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child on Broadway, the biggest play of all time ever in the history of Broadway. And so that being said, speaking of performing, if we were in a band, James, what would our name be?
Our name be?
Yeah.
Oh God.
I'll tell you, while you think of that one, and this is a question that the audience can answer as well. If we were in a band, and I'm totally going to steal this from my wife, Raina, because it is such a brilliant thing, Shitwater Rising. I can't take credit for that, but it's just like, yeah.
I'm trying to think of a title that evokes the last vestiges of youth.
Yeah.
As we grasp tightly. I have a buddy. He's in Austin. He's a band called Dad Bod Jovi.
Dad Banjo. Yeah, exactly. Oh, because that is the band that we would make. Dad Bod.
Yes.
Hanging on by the fingernails. Oh my god.
Oh,
Well, okay, we'll come back to that one. Does anybody have any the amazing the JJ band? Oh, new band. Oh, new band announcement. There you go. There it is. It's,
Ladies and gentlemen, playing their latest hit. I'm not that old. It's
all clogged up. Let's see. Lisa Nicole says the amazing James Snyder. That would be you'd be the lead, and I'd just be like the bitter drummer.
Could you imagine?
The drummer just like constantly rolling my eyes.
The band would be the nicest guys on Broadway.
Oh yeah, the Dilfs. The Dilfs.
Oh, that's right. We're the Dilfs.
And that's your invention.
Broadway Dilfs.
So instead of MILF, it would be dads. Okay, so let's see. Here we go. I'm going to answer yours too. If MySpace were still a thing, what would my profile song be?
MySpace is still a thing. How dare you?
I'm so sorry.
They are crawling back.
Is it really?
Man. Oh yeah, I get emails from MySpace still.
No, you don't.
I built it as a community for musicians, for recording artists. I think.
Amazing. Hey,
someone let us know. My song would be it'd be Old River Road, the tune I wrote.
Yeah.
I wrote this little tune. It's available for streaming on all internet places.
Don't you worry. Make sure everyone who's watching right now to stick around for the closing credits, because we have a QR code that you can scan, and it will take you directly to the place where you can get James' album Old River Road, right? Old River Road?
Old River Road, yeah. It's a great song. Like, it's a road in Bakersfield, and I was driving home. I was like, that sounds like a country song. And so I wrote it.
And it's good. No, I remember you wrote it on the car ride to
the first lyrics are 100 miles till I get home to you. And I wrote it in 100 miles as I drove back to my girlfriend's house from Sacramento to LA.
Amazing. Truth. Let's see. I'm gonna move on to the next one. Oh, we're almost out of time. Let's see. Oh, what's one thing or what's something you wouldn't want to change about yourself? I want to hear the audience's comments about one thing they wouldn't want to change about themselves either.
Yeah, I would say my general joy,
Oh, yeah.
like my zeal, my zest.
The zest.
Yes,
in life.
my energy, the sheer amount of energy that I have, and
it's so funny that we are friends and that we were roommates, because that's exactly it. You know, we would both come in with like, you know, we had our things, right? We were like, you know, we had our complaints, but like at the end of the day, I had so much fun in that room with you, and because we both were just like, okay, hey, let's have fun, let's do that, okay, blah 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 blah. Yeah. Energy and zest for life. I feel the same exact way. Let's see. Facebook user. I feel so badly because you have to like do something on Facebook where you go to StreamYard's site and like click something, and then they like can put your picture up. So this Facebook user says my heart and giving nature. Lindsay says my self-respect. Anne Marie says, there's what's this? What are you pulling up?
MySpace.com. People.
It is alive.
Joe Rogan's there, so it's definitely alive.
Oh, interesting. Let's see. My sense of justice. My this is interesting. I think I'd have to start from scratch. I'm not sure there's anything worth keeping. Don't believe that lie, girl. Don't believe it, Kelly. I don't believe it. But you know what? At least you have a good perspective. Or the ability to have a perspective on yourself. I don't know if it's good or bad. I don't know you well enough to be able to say that. But I would question that lie. I would question that false belief, not a lie necessarily. There's a really great, I don't want to call her a guru. I don't want to call her a therapist. I don't want to call her anything. But her name is Byron Katie. Byron Katie. Byron Katie, like Katie, like Katie, I don't know, Holmes, right? Yeah, Katie, Byron Katie. And what she does is she asks a series of questions, or teaches you how to ask a series of questions to challenge thoughts like the one you have below, to see if it's really true. Because it's really easy to believe when you're like, I don't think there's anything worth about myself keeping. But through the process of inquiry, through the process of what she calls the work, you can really begin to challenge those questions and kind of pick them apart and say, well, what's really true about that? And what's not really true about that? And what's the thought behind the thought of that? And is this really true? Or is there something else that I can focus my energy on that will get all this BS out of the way and deal with what I really feel? Because I believe that they're most likely, I would say 99.9 repeating percent of a chance that there is plenty. Actually, I would say 100%. There's plenty about you, Kelly, that is worth keeping. All right. Jason says the fact that people can turn to me for help whenever. This guy says, this person says my laugh because others say it makes them laugh. I love that. And then, hey, Bill Duffy says being a wedding officiant. Yes.
Yeah.
Go on, Bill Duffy.
Get it.
That's awesome. Okay, we're almost at the end of our time. I'm going to ask you this one. Ready? If you have, and I believe that you have, when was the moment you realized you weren't invincible? When you're like, wow, I am not invincible.
Oh, wow. Like emotionally? I don't forget, like,
take that how you will.
Yeah, I had a girl in high school with Dana Driggs. I had a crush on Dana Driggs, and she was like, you would be so cute if you didn't open your mouth.
Oh! And when you open your mouth, it's one of the best things about you. I mean, obviously you're handsome.
Oh, thank you. Imagine me in high school trying to win a girl over, it's so great. And she's, God bless her too. Like, I think about all the stupid things I did as a kid. I took the Crybaby, my first Broadway show, I took really personally. It closed after really quickly. We're having a reunion at 2:00 Eastern with Seth Rudetsky on his show on Friday. Crybaby reunion plug. But I took it really personally. It took me like 2 years to get over that. And I didn't realize that new Broadway shows are most likely going to close. Like, I didn't know that 85% of new musicals didn't recoup. And I took it really personally. So
that's so crazy to think that, though, because you have better odds going to a casino than you do investing in a Broadway show. which is sad. Like, it's really crazy. Yeah. And yeah, I can see how you would have taken that personally for sure.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, well, of course you didn't. I mean, look, I still, my wife always is like, she just knows that whenever a show closes, whether it's been, and I've not been in an original show that is extremely successful. Like, I did my 9-month tour in Wicked, right? But I was like Fiyero number 12 or something. And I'm not putting it down. I mean, it's an amazing show, right? And I'm blessed to have been a part of it, and I love it. But like, every time a show closes, especially like my first show closed very quickly, the same way, Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown, it closed. Chuck, our producer, is trying to put up some things. He's like, the computer's not working for him, but I think he's got it now. So my first show closed really quickly too, and I just felt like just a tremendous amount of like, why did I do something wrong? I mean, there was all kinds of crap happening in my life at the time, but I want to say, to answer the question directly, because I promised I would answer it. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry, I got to put this one up. When I did a backflip out of a tree as a kid.
Ow.
Oh, that's funny because it's sort of like mine. I was on a trampoline, but of course the great equalizer and breaker of things, trampolines, and I was jumping up, and a friend of mine did the super bounce, and I came down on his, like, where his leg meets his thigh, like right in between there, not landed on his bits, but I landed. All of a sudden I just felt this inside my leg, and like I just ended up like limping home, and I had a hairline fracture, and that was the first time I'd ever broken a bone, and I realized, oh my goodness, I am not invincible. Fainted after marching in a parade as a teenager. Yeah, that is the classic. That's one of the classics. Let's see. When I almost died. Does this count? Yes.
Jason, that effing counts.
Okay. When people in public stare at me, happened as a kid, still happens. All right. So let me ask you one more question. We're just a little over an hour. Oh, is that Crybaby right there?
Where's Crybaby right there?
That's Crybaby. It was beautiful. I remember watching. I think we watched in our dressing room the Macy's Day performance that you did of Crybaby. Who's that? Who's playing opposite you there?
Tony performance. That's Elizabeth Stanley. She's in Jagged Little Pill right now.
Amazing.
Or LB. She plays the mom in that. Yeah. That wig was so nice.
It's amazing. But it's just so interesting to see how, or to think of, like, you know, for example, even in Transit, the show that we did, which didn't close super quickly, but just limped along until it died. We spent 5 weeks just learning the music, for God's sake. You know what I mean? And to think about all the work that you put into a show, whether it's a show that is super successful like Harry Potter. I know you guys were in the middle of training the next generation or the next cast, right?
We were finishing up. I had 6 performances with that previous cast. We were like that following Tuesday. We finished on a Thursday. They were like, go home, and we had just finished teching the thing, and then there it is.
There's in Transit.
Yeah, and so this new cast was there were kids who were about to make their Broadway debut. So nothing is guaranteed.
Right, but nothing is guaranteed. Well, before we go, I just want to say thank you so very much, James, for being here. I really appreciate you. You're absolutely awesome. I have loved knowing you for all these years. I love finding that we finally got to work together. I was geeked out. I might have been, maybe not more than, but probably equally to like your mom. And I was like, no way, he's Harry Potter. That's so freaking awesome. Like, I'm so excited for this to be over just so I can come back and see you do this.
Yeah, man.
Doing it for a while now, and I know it's like so in you, and like I can't wait. So I'm so proud of you. Make sure to tell everyone where they can find you on social media. What are the things that you're up to? Obviously,
at James Snyder. You can email me at james@jamessnyder.com. Go to the website and then it'll send me a thing, but it's better just to email me, james@jamessnyder.com. If you're interested in being part of that first group class too, I'm taking 10 people just to see what we can.
Yeah.
And Justin, thank you, man. I know I was in the thick of like moving back to the East Coast during transit. I had young kids, and I just remember, I remember you being like, look, I'm like 3 years ahead of you, like kid-wise, because you had kids the same age gap, sort of.
Yeah.
You know, like you're like, it gets better. You're like, just trust me, it's gonna get better. And
it doesn't get easier; it just gets better.
It gets different, but like I was going through it, man. You know, my family was still trying to make this transition back to the East Coast. My wife was in LA packing our things. You know, I had to move out
and trying to run her own business.
Yeah. Which she's like, now she's pivoted and she helps people start businesses and product-based entrepreneurs. And
so where can we find out about what she does?
You can go to theproductboss.com or listen.
Product Boss. Oh, I love these good websites.
It's the Product Boss podcast, and they just if you're interested on having an online marketplace, like a place you can sell something, Facebook has just released something that they talk all about this week on YouTube and on their podcast that essentially creates a Shopify store, but on your Facebook page. So
that's fantastic.
So yeah, Facebook's changing the world, and she's on the forefront of this whole thing. She's got clients that she's taken from, you know, like they're like, I made $20,000 last year, and now I made $30,000 this month, kind of thing.
That's
so
amazing. Tell me more about that, please. There it is. That's the website, the Product Boss.
Yeah, her and her business partner essentially are really good at telling people, like, helping people shift their businesses to sell on multiple platforms. You know, they have this product called Multi-Stream Machine, where it's like sell on Instagram, sell on Etsy. Like, that's sort of their main people are like the Etsy people that are trying to like
go
somewhere else and don't know how to do that. And so it's all about Jacqueline's been in fashion since the beginning. That's my wife on the left in the white right there, and her business partner Mina is over there, Jacqueline. And Yeah, and they're just so smart of like, well, what about this? And have you thought about this? And have you thought about this? And then finding those little things. And this is how it works in life, is you find the little things that you necessarily couldn't see, but you have somebody else that has perspective, and maybe it's just one step ahead of you.
Yeah.
And it makes such a profound difference in your life, man.
Well, that's the life of a coach. And I know that anyone who signs up for your program or Product Boss, I know from personal experience that you're a phenomenal teacher. And I hope that if you're watching this, a dear viewer out there, and you'd like to sign up for James' course or to find out more about James' course, make sure you email him at james@jamessnyder.com. If you're like, I make really cool stuff, or I've got really cool stuff to sell, make sure you go over to www.productboss.com and check out what his wife Jacqueline is doing. They're both solid people. I stand by them 100%, and I'm excited. Yeah, here we go.
You taking a picture, saying, "Honey, oh yeah, you ready?"
That's right. I talked about you. That's good. That's good. This is brownie points. All right, man. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so very much for your time. I really appreciate you. Thank you. It's been
so much.
I'm so glad I just got to talk to you and see you again. I hope that you have a phenomenal rest of your evening. Please give your kids and Jacqueline a hug for me. And thank you for coming on and singing and just being your awesome self, man. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Uh-oh, do I lose you? Do I lose your...
No, I'm right here. I'm just chatting. I'm basking in the glow that is Justin Guarini. Thank you. And anytime you need a co-host or a pep talk or whatever, I'm right here.
All right, dude. I might take you up on that. Everybody seems to like you. All right, brother. Take care of yourself. All right.
Do I hang up? Do you hang up? What's
no,
happening?
no. I'm gonna take care of it right now.
Okay, good. Ah!
There we go. All right. So thank you, everyone. Woo, we went a little bit long tonight. This is So What Happens Now live. If you like the show, please share it. Like it on Facebook. Retweet it. If you're on Twitch and you're watching, Twitch it. I don't know. Just tell somebody about it. Subscribe on YouTube. Whatever it is that you need to do. We want to spread the word about our wonderful community and the wonderful things that our guests like James and his wife Jacqueline are up to. Hey, goodbye to James. Thank you very much for co-hosting. I really appreciate you. I said all the wonderful things about you, James. I ain't gonna say it again. This has been absolutely amazing. I've enjoyed all your comments and thoughts tonight. For further discussion, join our community of hope by texting 310-510-6034. Hope, health, opportunity, peace, empowerment. It is a phenomenal group on Facebook filled with really amazing people, and we would love for you to be one of them. All you got to do is text 310-510-6034, 310-510-6034, or click on the link in the description of this video. Hey, thank you so very much to the community here. You make this possible. You make this what it is, and this is 100% for you. All right, join us next Thursday, new show, Thursday at 8 p.m. And the reason why we're doing the new show is because Chuck, my producer, is also a first responder. He is a lieutenant in the fire department as well as an EMT, and he is on the front lines fighting the good fight on Wednesday. So instead of doing his magic on Wednesday, we're going to do it on Thursday at 8 p.m. Joining us will be the lovely and talented Tony-nominated Laura Osnes. So make sure you tune in next Thursday right here at 8 p.m. We'll be doing the show. In the meantime, I hope that you have a wonderful night. I wish you all the best. Thank you so very much for watching, and have a great night. Roll those credits, Chuck.